Okay, that intro has gone out. But anyway, good evening, everybody, and what a day! I've been out today, and we actually kind of like go down and give somebody called Len a scooter because he's in his 80 and he's got terminal cancer, and he was walking around on the frame. So what we thought we'd do is that we're getting the scooter so he can enjoy life more. So how about that? So that's me for the day. It's a good thing. Now I've got Mark. Hello, Mark. How are you?
Hey, how you doing, Steve? You all right, mate? That's
Yeah,
quite a dramatic intro.
yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah, well, the intro usually works, but we've got several intros, but the team are working on a new one, and this one here is just a bit. It's not working for some reason today, but there you go. Anyway, tell us about yourself and
what do you want to know? Where do you want me to start?
anywhere you want. I've got all night, mate.
You got all night. I haven't, but there we go. Well, yeah, it's. I mean, I'm trying to work out where your show go, but if you want the mental thought processes of how you can change your life and everything, I can probably help you with it. Basically, I can't even remember now. It's gone into the annals of my history. I basically woke up one morning and my wife of then 20 odd years just literally turned around and said, I don't love you anymore. It's over. And I was like, oh God. And then the reality hit me, and it was weird. I went into sort of depression, anxiety, and I've seen that you do a lot of that sort of stuff and talking about it on these shows. But there was a weird one that not a lot of there's an ugly cousin of depression and anxiety that turns up, and that's called paranoia, and that's really weird. That's the weird one, and that was one that got me. And it came to a head when I found myself on a lay-by on the A1, traveling up to see my friend, downloading security apps to my phone, and I was like, "What am I doing here? Why am I doing this? This isn't me. I'm I'm a normally confident and outgoing person. I'm now not worried about my skirt, and there was nothing to be worried about. And it was just really strange. But I sort of got a glimpse into how people get to that sort of state, and it was quite horrible. In fact, it was really, really bad. It was really bad. It really affected I lost about 2 stone in weight, and not through like dieting or running, but just through like just not eating and looking after myself. And weirdly enough, I thought that was the problem. I thought it was like the marriage breakdown and all my little dreams and hopes all going away, and all of a sudden it's like, shit, what am I going to do now? And then looking deeper into it, it sort of came more from the fact that a few years earlier in 2013, my younger brother took the option to commit suicide, which was just completely out of context for him. It was weird, and I look back on it now, and back then I said I was going to change my life and do things differently, and what I did was absolutely nothing, and then life came back and kicked me. And that's where I end up, and I still think that was the catalyst for it. But I also look at it now and go, actually, for all that stuff we went through, actually, I'm in a great place now because it's got me doing what I want to do with a woman that I really, really love. And I'm just having a great time. So through all the bad things, actually, the good things have come from it. So that's where I'm at.
What do you think that triggered the breakup then?
I think it was me. I was desperately unhappy, but desperately clinging on to something that was never gonna last. And I think subconsciously I checked out of the marriage, for want of a better word. And then she obviously caught up on that, however long that took. And she was the brave one. She was the courageous one. She was the one that was brave enough to say, "Look, no, this has to end. This has to end." And I'll thank her forever for that. But yeah, it was me subconsciously, just like, I've checked out of this. I'm not interested in this anymore.
Yeah. How many? So now you've got a new partner.
Yeah,
What's your mental health like now?
absolutely superb. I literally, everything just flies above me now. I don't get tied up in the little things. Any little sort of, I don't know, the foibles of life gets in my way. I just go, no, okay, but that's what it is. And just rather than trying to control things, I let them happen and see what way they work out.
Right. Okay.
I've literally just let go of trying to control situations or people or anything like that, and just go, right, okay, well, it'll work out for how it works out. And you lose friends and you gain friends and you gain new skills and more opportunities that open up to you.
Yeah. So with when I kind of like, I actually tried committing suicide on a bridge,
Right.
and to me, I was kind of like just about to do it, and I got stopped on the bridge,
Right.
and I was sectioned on the 21 of the Mental Health Act,
Yeah.
and they put me into a psychiatric unit, and there's a big stigma about psychiatric units.
Yeah.
All right, and there's a big stigma about mental health, all that, right? Because when you're going to a psychiatric unit, they're thinking, well, here we go, one flew over the cuckoo's nest or whatever.
Yeah.
You get all that stigma about it. Did you, when you had that time when you was down on your, when you was really down, depressed and everything, your marriage crumbled and everything,
Yeah.
did you come to a conclusion there was like that you really wanted to end your life, or you thought, oh well, it's just a blip, I move on?
No, it wasn't an option to me. It wasn't an option to me because I'd already seen what my parents had gone through. I mean, obviously, I'm growing up. My brother was growing up. I couldn't put my parents through that. I literally couldn't put my parents through that. But it never really got to that point with me. It was just literally, it was just blind confusion. It was blind confusion. I literally had the rug, all my little sort of hopes and dreams, and as much as they may have been like pipe dreams or whatever, just pulled away from me. I just had to cope with just basically dismantling everything. Suicidal, no, it just didn't get into me. I'd seen the devastation it had caused, and what was also strange was during my brother's period, and I'm watching the little stuff she was putting up here.
Yeah.
Suicide leading causes and stuff like that. What I couldn't cope with during my brother was the empathy from people. They were trying to put themselves in my position, and it got to the point where I was just saying to people, look, just say what you want to say, don't beat around the bush, because you could see them struggling to speak to me. So there was that bit, and also what was really bad, and again, it's like watching your stuff coming up. It's so true. Was that everyone I spoke to, I would say 90% of them turned around and said, "Yeah, I've had the same sort of thing in my family. That I've had an uncle, a brother, a friend, whatever. It was just so rife. I couldn't believe how rife it was."
Yeah. See, the trouble is with mental health now, since we have had all this lockdown and everything,
Yeah.
with all the lockdown and what's been going on,
Yeah.
the increase of in the UK alone of people committing suicide, it's gone up tenfold.
Yeah.
And the trouble is, the hospitals and the doctors, right, are so inundated that they're leaving these people who are really suicidal because they've lost their jobs with the lockdown and they're really depressed. They're not they're not quick enough to kind of like look after these people. So what they do is they can't cope no more. So they go to a point in their life and thinking, oh well, they don't care about me. I'm going to die or take an overdose and everything. And but you know, and I know that when you take if you, I don't know if you did take an overdose, but when I took an overdose once, the problem was still there in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, I come at it from a different angle because I don't say anything about the doctors or anything like that because the reality is if and I don't know what the way round this is, but unless you're with someone at the moment that they decide to do that, there's nothing you can do. There's literally nothing you can do. My brother was completely normal, even on the night that he did it. Absolutely, completely normal. There's nothing out of the ordinary, and then something flips. So I don't know. I don't blame the doctors. There's nothing really that they can do about it, except like tell people to talk about it first. That's one of my regrets about my brother is that basically he never talked to anyone about it first. He just went and done it. It did, we had no idea that this was going through his mind. But it's just a tragedy, and it happened. I mean, I'll give you an idea from where I grew up. Where I grew up in West Hampstead in northwest London, in the space of 4 houses, 3 people commit suicide. They may not have been living in that, but they grew up and knew each other. So we had my brother, we had my next door neighbour who basically he went into hospital and just went mad and threw himself off a railway bridge. And then the most tragic of it all was a 12-year-old girl. She was really, really famous from Marylebone School, who threw herself in front of a train in St Pancras. And there's no way of knowing, and there's no way of stopping it. It's just all about just being nice to each other.
Yeah, life is tough, isn't it? When mental health is really a big subject. But the trouble is, many people, like men, that we are afraid to talk really
Yeah.
because we're supposed to be the macho ones, and there's nothing wrong with us.
Yeah. I'll pull you up on one thing there though. Life's not tough. Life's not tough. We just make it tough. It's not tough. It's there to be enjoyed. It's there to be celebrated. And there's a lot of stuff that I feel that goes on in the I don't know, in the media, in the wording of things. You know what? Life's not tough. Life doesn't have to be tough. Yeah, we might not have all the things we want, but actually, you know what? Got a roof over your head. You're doing well. You're fed. You're doing well. And that's it. There's a lot of very, very poor people throughout the world who go through tough lives than all of us, and yet they still continue.
Yeah, I do understand that. What I meant about life being tough sometimes. See, sometimes for some people, life can be really, really tough. Because what happens is take what's been happening with the COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs. People were self-employed, right?
Yeah.
And they come out of it and they haven't got no money no more. They haven't got no income. But they're on their luck and everything, and only one way out is either they kind of like either which they have done, and people have actually committed suicide, or they've actually kind of like said, right, okay, this is it, and they've taken other ways of doing things. Like, I know somebody who robbed a shop, and and things like that, and the post office, and it can carry on, but the trouble is, there's got to be something more out there that can help people who's been going through mental health problems.
Yeah,
I would say.
Yeah, I do. but I'm also there's the bit about helping, but there's also the bit about almost like personal responsibility. This will sound maybe a bit left field, but we've been taught, we've almost been brainwashed into it, that basically we're looking for fault, we're looking for reasons that things aren't going well, and they're all external reasons, when actually the reasons are always on you. They're always on you. They're always on the individual, as far as I'm concerned. That you've got to take personal responsibility.
Oh yeah. I totally agree with that.
And as soon as you, and this is a great example. This is when my marriage broke up, because I was basically putting all the responsibility onto her. And it was only that moment I took responsibility and I looked at myself. You go, oh right, okay, well, yeah, this is the best thing ever. And that's what a lot of it is. It's more personal responsibility, because if you look at a lot of people's problems, you ask them what the problem is, it'll always be something outside them. It won't be themselves or them not doing something or them not acting. It'll be someone else's. It'll be someone else that's caused their problems. So I'm a great believer in personal responsibility.
Yeah. Well, we all need to take our. See, we all make choices in life, don't we? We can.
Yeah.
It's like going across the road. You don't know if you're going to get knocked over. You don't know what our life is. We take it day by day. You know what I mean? But when I kind of you might laugh at this now, but when I committed suicide, and when I got myself sorted out, when I came back out again, my faith helped me to get on with my life. All right, and I stick by my faith, and I believe in God. I don't preach it to anybody. I don't say anything to anybody.
Yeah.
And this is why I do this, because through this I'm helping people. We've put people into rehabs. We've put people into people with alcohol. We've helped so many people. And the trouble is, sometimes we do need to take responsibility for our own actions, because I think we're the ones who make that decision to do that. If it's like me. I used to like going out drinking quite a bit years ago, right?
Yeah.
But I don't drink that much now. If I go out for a drink, I usually have like a Malaga Shandy, and that'll do me.
I'm having a glass of wine when I'm speaking to you.
Yeah, well, you having a glass of wine. I'm not stopping you from having a glass of wine. But no one can do that, see, and that's what I'm trying to say. In life, we can make our own decisions. No one can't tell us what to do.
Mm-hmm. It's for me. That was like a God. It was basically just that realization of taking responsibility for everything, for my own happiness, my own health, for my own, I don't know, future, if you want to do. I don't like talking about the future, but it's like, just like, I'm responsible. I literally am responsible. And you get into these dark places. I remember it was like a formative moment. It was like I was sort of into my reading, and I was going away to Gothenburg for the weekend, and it was like, right. And I was reading now Albert Camus, who is the most depressing author ever published in the world. And I was so bored of the book. And actually his premise was that suicide is actually the only truthful thing ever. And I was just like, this is just so bad. This is just really bad and grim. And I went to the bookshop actually at the gates, and there was a but what was it called? Something about how not to give a fuck or something like that. I don't mean to use bad language. By Mark Mason, and it was awesome. It was just enlightening. You just go, right, you're just taking everything so serious, and like none of this stuff matters. None of it matters. None of anything you're doing even yourself and me today, it doesn't matter. In a year's time, it won't matter. And it's about not taking yourself seriously. And you know what? Like maybe Shakespeare had it right. Maybe Shakespeare had it right all those years ago with his thing about suffering the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. That's what it is. And you just go, okay, carry on. And you just keep going on, and you just go, right, okay, well, this is a bit shit, but let's see where it gets to. And like I said, my life was effectively down the toilet, and where it is now is just absolutely amazing. But I have to.
What do you do right now?
I run a comedy business. Business, put stand-up comedy nights and teaching and team building and teaching graduates to write their CVs properly and everything like that. And it's just taking me to a place from the depths of despair to the highs of like, actually this is brilliant, and none of this would have happened and without the bad times. And I think there's a lot of things to be said about people who always go, well, this bad thing's happening because of this bad thing, and this good thing's happening because of this good thing. Well, actually, a lot of the good things in your life have happened because of the bad things in your life, of what you've gone through before. And to just go, it's really, really bad, I'm going to end it, whatever. That's probably a blunt way of saying it. But actually, you know what? Why don't you see where these bad things lead to? Why don't you see where it's pushing you to? I don't know whether you believe in like the universe or whatever, but at some point you just step back and just go, right, okay, well, where's this going to take me? And it may take you lower, but it may take you to a place that you've never imagined. I mean, there's probably thousands of stories of people in like despair and whatever, and they just rise up. And the thing is, if you end it, you're not getting the chance to do that.
That's it. And we encourage people on here that they don't end it.
To talk. A lot of the time it's about talking. You know, if you're feeling shit, just tell someone. People are open to it.
Yeah. We've just started a men's group. You know, anybody can join our men's group. We have a men's group. Even women. Yeah.
Oh wow, that's not a men's group. That's a group.
No, I'm only joking. No, we have a men's group, and in that men's group, what we do, we just talk about what different stuff. You know, it's open to anybody that comes in, and they talk about all sorts of things, and it's really open. And I remember someone saying, you know, someone coming in and said, if I didn't know nothing about this group, I would have gone out there and just ended it. And I'm thinking, hang on for a second, but we all in life, we all get down to a certain point. Yep. But it's kind of like looking at the positive things to lift us back up again. Like your family, if you've got children, let's look at that. You know, I say to people, like, if you look at, I put your children, they never miss you, won't they? Oh, you know, there's one person said, well, I don't care about that. They won't care a damn if I've gone or not. You know what I mean?
That is a complete fallacy that people believe. That's just a story that people believe. I remember when my brother, my mum and dad didn't know anything about his friend group, and they were worried that I would turn up to the funeral. We literally had a full house at the funeral. We were turning people away at the door at the funeral because he was that popular. Mum and dad never knew anything about that. And it is a case of like, you've just got to talk to people. You'd be surprised. I mean, nowadays I go out for a drink with my mates, and it's more like you said, it's more like a men's group rather than a drink and have a laugh. It used to be go out and let's call some birds and have a giggle and get pissed. Now it's like, it's not going too well. But a lot of it is just, I don't know, maybe we've been attuned that life should be perfect and everything, and once it's not too perfect, oh God, it's not. It is insane. It's insane that we can't cope with minor adversities. They're actually minor adversities. There's no. Let's say the great adversity is you've got terminal cancer. You're going to die. You've got the infinite. You know the finite end. The rest of it is just they're just adversities. You don't just learn to get on with it. Be resilient and just go, you know what? Oh yeah, life's a bit shit. I'm losing my house. I'm losing my job. But you know what? I'll try again tomorrow. And rather than basically patting people on the back and going, oh, they're there, maybe just turn around and go, yeah, you'll get through it. You'll get through it. I know one of the things, there was a thing when I was going through it was the Man Up campaign.
Oh,
and I absolutely hated it. I hated it because it didn't work. This like, oh, you don't have to man up. You have to, well, actually you do. And man up's not the right word, just human up, because it applies to women as well. It's just like, you know what, man up. And it was what one of my friends said to me, and he was a counsellor. And I was telling him what I was going through, and he just went, right, I've had enough of listening to you. Man up. Remember who you are. Remember what you are, what you do, how you speak, how you were. Man up. Person up. Maybe person up is probably better. Person up, human up, whatever you want. But all this like, oh, you don't have to man up. Well, you sort of do. You have to human up and go, actually, I'm all right.
Yeah.
You're all right. Whoever you are, whatever you're going through, you're all right. You're all right. You'll be all right, and the sun will come up tomorrow, and it'll be fine.
I know somebody, as I said in the beginning, I know somebody who's in his 80s now, and he's got terminal cancer. You know, he knows that it ain't got long, and every time I see him, he kind of like, he's always laughing, he's always getting on with life. You know, today we got him a scooter, and he was going around on his scooter and everything. He was completely enjoying life as it is.
Weird, isn't it? Yeah. So I'd love to. Well, I wouldn't love to know the figures, but I doubt if there's many people with terminal cancer that commit suicide.
Well,
I doubt that they might commit the sort of like, yeah, right, okay, I don't want to go through the.
Well, it's offence now.
Yeah,
they've actually turned it into offence if you kind of like committed suicide. If you've got terminal cancer, it's it's kind of like it's down to what you call a criminal offence if you actually commit suicide.
Yeah, but I don't think those people do. I think so. That's a weird one, isn't it? So someone with a finite amount of life, they know how long they've got, and yet they live life to the full. Yet people who are just going through a bad time, or a bad period in their life, see it as a way out. It's just like, well, that makes no sense. It makes no sense. And I listen to anyone that does it. Gee, wow, what a grim, lonely thing to go through. But at the same point, it's almost, rather than sugarcoating it, just go, look, no, this isn't the way it works. It's not the way it works. It's like I don't know what you did, but I've read a suicide note. I've read that, and you just go, no, you think you're doing the right thing, but you're actually doing the wrong thing. Not just for the people around you, but for yourself.
Yeah. I think with me it was kind of like I was a bit of a joke teller, a bit of a comic, and I was, I remember when I was in the psychiatric unit, I was just coming out with jokes all the time. I've never smoked in my entire life, So to get out of the psychiatric unit, I used to queue up for a cigarette, and and I should come out and go outside. I should tell people jokes, and they say, "You coming out in about 10 minutes time?" I said, "Yeah, I'll go in, join the queue, and go back out again." And it was a comic thing, you know what I mean? So.
But that's it. It's basically you grab something from a place of horror, a horrible place to be, but you grab that bit of humanity, that bit of life as it was. But had you have done it, you'd have never got to experience that. You wouldn't be telling this story. You don't know what you would. Had you have done it, you'd never be doing this what you're doing now.
Yeah.
And there's all that. It's basically a lot of the times it's like going, actually, do you know what? Maybe the worst times. What is it? The best of times, the worst of times. But maybe the worst times in our lives are the most fundamental, and we have to get through them see where they lead you to. See where they lead you to, because honestly, sometimes they just lead you to like the same shit, and you just have to get on with it. But a lot of the times, they'll lead you to a better place. Maybe your original life wasn't going where you're meant to go. Maybe it's just like a little push to say, look, go that way. And we just take it as like a real sort of like mental onslaught. And well, I don't know. I don't know why the suicide thing has become so prevalent over the years. I'm sure it was happening when I was young in the 70s and stuff like, oh, your Auntie Flo died in her sleep. Yeah, but Auntie Flo was only like 35. What was the matter with Auntie Flo? Yeah, so it probably did happen.
Yeah.
But there's no reason for it to happen with all the support that's around. I don't know. I don't, maybe blame it on society and the unfair, but you're like, oh, you should have a house, you should have a job, you should have everything. Actually, no, you shouldn't. No, you shouldn't. You should be doing what you enjoy. You should be doing what you enjoy, and as long as you got a place to put your head down and food in your belly, you literally should be as happy as a pig in shit. That's all we're designed to do.
Yeah, well done. I'm glad you come out with that, and I'd love to have you back on. I think you are kind of like, at the end of the day, you come as what you say as it is, and that's what I love about people. Because last July when I started this,
yeah,
it was mainly for people who had mental health problems.
Mm-hmm.
Then we were getting different guests on. We were getting people on who were famous people, and to me, any famous person is just an ordinary person.
Mm-hmm.
They don't matter to me. But what I do is that this group is on this channel is helped so many people in all different sorts of ways, and that's what we want to continue to do. But also, we want people to come on here and tell real stories, so people can kind of watch and go, "Hey, yeah, hang on for a second. I've been through all that. You know what I mean? I've done that, and to get help, and that's what we're about."
I mean, I'm happy. I'm happy to come on any time. I'm happy to answer anyone's questions. They can question me to the end of the day, and I'll tell.
What we do, we do that. We do that.
What's that?
We will do that. We will get people. We will do a question and answers thing, right?
And you know what? I'd be happier to meet people that have a contradicting view to me. Just simply because I want to hear their side of it, but also it's for other people to hear the side of it.
Oh yeah, you definitely get it on here when we do that. When this is a bit short notice because we only talked yesterday, didn't we? So when I started kind of like doing all the advertising on it, it'd be good because people would come on and they would say, "Well, I don't agree with you that." I've had people on here. We talked about racism and all that lot on here. We've talked about all sorts, and we just
I'll do a full set on racism, sexism, misogyny, Brexit, the whole lot, COVID, the whole lot. I'll do a whole set and just go, right, okay, fire questions and we'll do it.
Yeah. Okay, good on you. Thank you, Mark, for joining me tonight, and you should drink the rest of that bottle because you deserve it.
I'm gonna.
Yeah. And let me know when you got one of those comedy nights on. Then I'll love.
Whereabouts are you?
Well, I'm in the southwest.
You're whereabouts in the south? We'll narrow it down.
Exeter.
Right. Okay, we're in Seaton in December.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're in Seaton in December, and I think we've got another one coming up in Devon as well, around the same time. But I'll let you know.
Brilliant. I love comedy. Comedy makes me really
laugh. That's what we're trying to do.
It's laughter makes me. It's funny. It's
laughter is the best medicine. The best medicine. Laugh at yourself. Laugh at your own foibles and your own stupidity because it's brilliant.
I love it.
Life doesn't seem so harsh.
It doesn't, does it? Anyway, I'm glad everything's okay for you. And in the meantime, I'll get my wife to kind of like book you in again because she does all that. Alexa do all
Excellent.
that.
No
But
problem.
thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
Thank you. God bless.
Take it
Bye-bye.
easy. God bless. Cheers. Bye.
Well, yeah, that's right. At the end of the day, life is just about, it's worth living, isn't it? It's not kind of like, doing stupid things about committing suicide or whatever and ending your life. We all can do that if we wanted to. It's a choice. But there's a way out, and we just need to be positive. But also, we need to be kind to ourselves. Thank you very much for watching. Good night. God bless. And until tomorrow, bye bye. Take care, everybody.